right. So it's once again time for Midcard Mana.
This is the Yellow Dog.
And that's Braun Strowman.
Get these hands!
And
this is Midcard Mana.
And this is, in fact, Midcard Mana. So what we're talking about...
I don't know what we're talking about.
I figured we could do a little bit more in depth on the Superstar Shakeup. I know we kind of touched upon it, and we started to sort of take off. But I mean,
we can start there, sure.
We can start there, sure. Yeah.
It sucked. I think. Kind of said that last time.
I think overall it produced a lot of new, interesting potential matchups.
It produces potential things we haven't seen in a while, at least, or
and I am looking forward to now Samoa Joe becoming a little bit more of a threat now that he doesn't have Roman Reigns to have to always be the one to tangle with him.
Yeah.
I think that definitely Samoa Joe on SmackDown means we could see more of Joe versus Nakamura, Joe versus Styles, Joe versus Daniel Bryan. All three matches could potentially be
dream booking.
Yeah.
For what's going to happen, I would go straight to Joe versus Styles. You can have your small matches, Joe versus whoever, every week, but the potential, Joe versus Styles is there for your next big feud.
Yeah.
And what that means, I think, is, one of two things. More than likely, Shinsuke will not get the belt.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but I honestly, I don't see him getting the belt at this juncture.
I don't either. Or you could have Joe cost Styles the belt.
And have that be the feud.
That's a possibility.
And then once Joe wins that feud, he can go and chase Nakamura.
I don't think they'd do that. I think Joe would just go after Bryan, and then they would do whatever, and they would strap a face, and then Joe would go after that guy. But I think more likely it'll happen would be that Joe would take the belt off of AJ Styles. That feud could take us into Survivor Series, really. And then after that, Joe could have a couple small pay-per-view matches. Joe and Jeff Hardy, Joe and... I'm trying to think who else is over there right now.
Oh, on SmackDown?
Yeah, on SmackDown.
As far as any specific character, faces. There's Styles, there's... Depending on how the whole Rusev thing pans out, Rusev
would be a good one. So you could have Joe fight a couple one-offers, pay-per-views, and then after Rumble, I would say build toward Joe versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. That would be what I would do probably. I would love, and this would be unfortunately cross-brand unless they do something. I would love to see a Joe versus Triple H. That'd be great.
I feel like this
we will never see that unless WWE goes to Samoa, I think. Then we might get Joe versus Triple H.
Come to Hawaii and do it.
That'd be great.
You would still get the pops and you'd still be in the same country.
Right.
Because we love our soles here. If Samoa Joe came here, the place would have blown up. Because when the Usos came, the place exploded.
Yeah.
And we even cheered for Tamina and Naomi harder than any of the other girls. You know why?
Samoa
soles.
So, Raw-wise, I think...
And they cheered for us, too.
I think what we may see more than likely happen, especially if Roman Reigns gets the title, I feel that maybe we'll see Roman versus Jinder. And I don't know how I feel about that. Because nothing else really makes sense to me. Like, I can't... I don't know. Because seems like all your top guys are faces
at this point.
So unless they turn somebody heel, I don't know.
Or they bring back someone as a heel.
Who? Ambrose?
Which I think would be a missed opportunity because have him come back as a face and then work into a heel.
Oh, you
because you want to hook people again.
At least that first show, like, you know, and then they have a tag match, and Ambrose turns on Roman because he wasn't there to help when Joe took him out. But who cares about continuity? It's WWE we're talking about.
I do. I care.
We could see Elias get a big push out of this, since there's not really a bunch of top heels on Raw.
Who wants to walk with Elias? Speaking of heels,
there's great.
That is a genuinely big loss on Raw's part.
It is
losing the Miz, because the Miz for a very long time was really the top heel.
Yeah.
On Monday Night Raw,
and some nights he was the top face as well.
I feel like we should also just do a video one day just on the Miz, because
we should,
because he is someone that I've really grown to
they're
respect
missing the
as far
ball
as
with
talent.
Miz so much. You know, they're just totally missing the ball with the Miz.
Well, I mean, look at it this way: who else can make fatherhood heelish?
Kevin Owens.
It's true, but KO doesn't have any tiny babies anymore, and he was already a father. You know what I mean?
That's because in Canada, Kevin Owens grows his children straight to 5 years old, right out of the womb.
I'm fine with this. It is a fact, actually.
It's a fact.
Did you know, unrelated, there are Kevin Steen shirts now on sale on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Oh, really?
I bought 4 of them.
Yeah?
Because I don't know how to save money, and I'm stupid.
Stupid.
I'm stupid. I also bought 6 El Genetical shirts. That's a problem.
Speaking of the biggest heel in the business.
Roboto! I saw
he
a
should
great
come
thing.
on, and the biggest heat I think he would get be like, so as most of you have heard, Nikki Bella broke up with me. He would finally get cheers. Guaranteed. The place would erupt.
Just, Nikki Bella broke my heart.
That would be a great way to turn him heel. And just be like, Midcard Mana brought to you by...
dark chocolate M&M's. They melt on the table and not in your mouth.
That's why. That's what happens. It's hot. It's really not. We walk around sweatshirts all day.
Yeah, it was cold today. It's cold for us at like 60 degrees.
Getting back on track. So I think what we might have, to steal your phrase, potential for, is the Miztourage actually got a little bit of attention this week on their own. They looked good in the match. They looked good in the match.
They tried.
And
Balor Club was not for them, though.
They beat down Finn Balor for a good portion. So I was like, oh. We almost got to see the perfect plex.
Man,
it was getting hooked up, and Rollins reversed out of it. I would love to see them push Bo and Curtis Axel. You know, Bo Dallas are, without a doubt, our greatest NXT champion to date. I don't want to hear any arguments. This is not up for debate. It's true. He was a really good NXT champion. If you don't believe me, go back and watch.
I disagree.
He was good. He had a great feud with Neville, right?
I'll give you that. He was good.
He was good.
He wasn't the best.
Oh, he maybe wasn't the best.
Who do you think I would say?
At that time, I mean, it was really good. He was doing really good work. So when they brought him up, it was like one of the first.
Idolo! No, I don't think so. I like him. I would honestly,
he was one of the first big guys they brought up from NXT that had, potential.
I would say the greatest NXT champion.
Aleister Black. Are you going to say Aleister Black? I will smack you down.
His name Tommy End. No, I honestly think the greatest NXT champion, Neville.
Oh, interesting.
And you would think I would say someone like Sami Zayn because I love him.
Shinsuke
because he's my cousin. Balor because he's my auntie's boyfriend. But no, honestly, I think Adrian Neville really was the first big face of NXT that we saw. I think he did a really good job at representing the brand to the point where people started taking it a lot more seriously. And of course, it wasn't just the efforts of him, but it was under his leadership as NXT champion that I think we saw a lot more of that. And then, especially the matches that he had, the Fatal 4 matches for the belt, the match with Sami Zayn, which was definitely probably the match of that year. Mm-hmm. The matches that he had afterwards where he failed to recapture the title. The biggest
reliving
deal.
it from the beginning. John Cena proposing to...
Or really the end.
So here's a little fantasy booking I had earlier talking with our friend John over at Square Circle Journal.
Thanks to Shakeup, dude. Let's collab sometime. I think you could rein us in a little bit better than we rein each other in.
We should do something together. It would have to be early for us.
Yeah.
Time zone differences. But fantasy booking wise for Raw is like if you don't strap Reigns, who are you going to strap? Because that means Lesnar's just going to not be present for 2 or 3 months at a time. So my other idea was like if you don't strap, if you don't strap Reigns, I would almost go with Balor if you're not going to do Braun, which that's who I would go with primarily, would be Braun. If you're not going to do Braun, I think you should go with Balor. Number one, to keep the number of champions down. Because you don't want everybody to be a new champion. Because then the title, it's even more worthless because everybody's a champion. We say, oh, this guy's been champion, that guy's been champion. So if you're not going to strap Roman or Braun, you can only really go with Balor or Owens, in my opinion. And I would go with Balor because you get the David versus Goliath feud out of Brock. Then,
if they're not, at least if you're not going to give me Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar,
right?
Give me Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar.
And then I would probably do
Finn Balor, who never lost the belt. Thank you very much.
He has that
that claim that they never explored.
I would also use that as Balor's champion to highlight 205 and bring in, like, especially if ideally if you could get Neville back, strap Neville again, and then have a Balor versus Neville feud for the Universal title. 205 champion versus the Universal Championship, and just to highlight that, so to speak. Which I think would be a great way to show like 205 can hang with the main roster. And then it could also I know Johnny's...
Which is preposterous to think otherwise, considering the fact that many of the talents that they had in 205 were former talents that were just regular roster.
Yeah. But it also goes to show that you could push someone like Balor to 205 or whatever and have them come up here and there. And I know some people have problems with having a 205 division when not every 205 guy is regulated to that division. Mm-hmm. But everybody else is. So, there's some people that are exempt where others aren't.
The way that they have the regulation set up for it are very... Perhaps unclear isn't the right word, but it's inconsistent.
It's inconsistent, right.
So to the point where, of course, people who are obviously within that weight range, not being put in that into that division, but of course, people who are then put into that division, for some reason, are no longer eligible to compete in
anywhere else, right?
In other places. In the instance of Buddy Murphy, failed his weigh-in. Mm-hmm. And so was unable to compete in the gauntlet match. Why not throw him in somewhere else?
Right. And I mean, I understand the aspect of having a show and keeping them only on that show, but I think 205 could use people like Chad Gable and Finn Balor and whoever else is in that weight range. Xavier Woods, I'm sure Kofi is as well.
Or anyone that really could even potentially cut a little bit of weight to be in that weight range.
And having them on the show, I mean, you could even have Big E accompany Kofi Xavier on the show, even though he's not going to compete, and that would be a huge advertising thing for the show. It's like, hey, we get to watch Big E just being Big E, even if he's not going to, and we get to see Finn Balor, and we get to see Chad Gable, we get to see all these interesting matchups, and you could protect Baylor to a point where he's not going to really lose that often.
I mean, you also have the potential of now elevating all these people who are unfortunately relegated to mid-card, lower card, to be in the running for a different title, and for their division, the grandest title. So it's all about making your superstars important, because if you don't treat them as important, how are we supposed to care about them?
And that's why I think, like, if you had someone like Balor as champion and having him go back and forth on 205, also,
it would definitely up the
whether
up
it's
the
Neville or if
opinions.
It's Gargano or Roderick Strong or whoever else you have on 205 to face off, a one pay-per-view big matchup there, and just kind of like highlight those guys. From there, I would have
a lot of followers today. Thank you, Follow Friday.
From there, I would have Balor drop to Kevin Owens to once again keep those numbers down. You'd have Balor and Owens both be 2-time Universal Champions. And then you can kind of wherever you want to go from there.
And it'll be a nice little payback, because Kevin Owens dropped the NXT Championship to Finn Balor.
She did. So, I mean, that would be your year worth, really. That would put you up to Royal Rumble, and then you would start building from there toward WrestleMania. And it would be exciting stuff, and you would keep the title protected. A title that we would see defended, because we haven't seen it defended that much over the last 2 years, really. If you consider it like that.
Or not defended in any real significant ways.
Right.
Considering the fact that the person that's held it since last WrestleMania was Brock Lesnar.
And before that, it was Goldberg, and we didn't really see much defense from Goldberg.
Although Goldberg's reign was decidedly short.
It was.
Comparatively.
Right.
Compared to the reign that was right before it, which was Kevin Owens. And
So,
the reign right after it, which was Brock Lesnar.
It's had a very rough start for championship.
There have only been 4 holders of the title.
Balor was immediately done as soon as he won it. And then we had Kevin Owens, and then
Goldberg,
yeah.
Now Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. So,
And by this time tomorrow, I'm joking.
Possibly.
Maybe Roman Reigns.
So even if Reigns wins, I would still do something like that. I wouldn't let Reigns hold it for very long, because he's booed.
Well, not even that, but Reigns does so much better in the chase than he does in
Even
victory.
though that's not saying much.
I mean, and there's so many people that do, but then you look at people like AJ Styles, or like Daniel Bryan, or even The Miz, in which they know how to carry themselves as champions. So you like seeing them as champs, and you want them to continue to retain.
Yeah.
Because even as champions, they're able to give it their all and bring it their A game. You know what I mean?
Yep. So, yeah, that's just me. If Reigns wins and Brock doesn't retain, I would have Reigns drop it to Kevin Owens. And then go Balor. And then that way.
Or Joe, even. Unless you're keeping it very specifically brand specific, but I mean,
I was just keeping it brand specific.
Let's say he wins it at Greatest Royal Rumble, and then has the match with Joe.
I would love for Joe to get it. I really would. And then I would just have Joe traded for Roman Reigns, Raw to SmackDown.
I mean, I can imagine that's very easy to tell kayfabe wise. It's like, Reigns.
Yeah.
You had so many chances to try and win it, and you couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
Well, we want our championship back. And have
Shane McMahon has agreed.
Have them trade, maybe Reigns and someone else over to SmackDown to get Joe to come back.
Yeah.
Maybe do Reigns and I don't know, one of the women.
Ambrose.
One of the women. Cute.
Would you got something wrong with something as Tuesday nights? Tuesday night Ambrose?
Well, I mean, I liked him in SmackDown.
Yeah. Or they could set it up in a manner of Jinder takes the U.S. title and Joe takes the
Intercontinental?
Universal.
Oh.
And that in order to...
I was so disgusted I had to walk off camera. And also to get water.
In order to get the Universal title back, they trade Samoa Joe for Jinder Mahal. And the U.S. title.
Rather than the Universal.
Yeah. You know, something. You can do something. Jinder and the U.S. title and Roman Reigns for Samoa Joe. I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. That was the shakeup.
A couple of pros. I'm glad that No Way Jose came up. I'm sad that he's going to be relegated to
Sanity on SmackDown.
most of Sanity.
Yeah.
Not all. My little cousin, she waited to tell me this in person. So she waited like maybe 2 or 3 days after the shakeup. This is the first time I was able to go over and visit.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Okay, why did they bring up Sanity but not Nikki Cross?" She was very upset. She loves Nikki Cross. So an interesting omission, but I think of course because they lost Ember Moon and the Iconics.
Yeah.
They
I
really
would much
still
rather see
needed
Nikki Cross come up than the Iconics.
They really still needed people down there to sort of help shape the next wave before they're able to leave.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's unfortunate that Nikki Cross is not able to come up with Sanity, but now I think at least it'll give her a little bit more opportunity to grow on her own rather than being tethered to the group.
I'm trying to think what else.
The Iconics.
Here's what I miss is the actual
like.
draft. I miss having the commissioners or GMs out there.
Actually negotiate and also...
Yeah.
I loved that from the original draft.
It gave it more of a brand split feel.
What I wish happened actually was instead of a superstar shakeup, just a brand new draft. Have everyone go back into the pool.
Everybody.
And then this is now your chance. You missed the person you wanted in the first draft. Now you get it this time.
Yep.
SmackDown gets first pick this time instead of Raw.
Yeah. Or like when they used to, for the pick, you have 2 representatives from both shows wrestle each other. Whoever the wins gets the first pick. You have something like that. And then they get their first choice of whoever. All the guys who are eligible from NXT if they want. That sort of thing. You could also
It made it a lot more exciting.
If somebody doesn't get picked, maybe they go to NXT.
Or 205.
Or 205.
Cut the weight.
So, I mean, there is that. And I think
I'm sure Mike Kanellis
could
make weight.
Way more exciting to do it that way. And why would you even have to have it as a TV thing? I would have it as a network special. You want to see the draft? You have to
have it have it on a Sunday instead of a pay-per-view. Have that be a big
and you can still have
moment.
Matches.
Yeah, definitely. You could still have matches, but during
the main thing is the draft.
Yeah, you would intersperse that with the draft, and then come Monday Night Raw, you have your whole new roster with the GM, and then you see a lot more of the GM trying to be like, all right, well, this is who we've got. So let's try and build a show around this.
Yep. To me, that would make way more sense.
And of course, it can be still completely scripted, but it would be a little bit more engaging because it would be a big question mark of, come Monday, who are we going to have?
Yeah. And I think you could honestly keep the wrestlers in the dark if you want real
reactions
and emotions to it. Why not?
What is there to lose from doing so?
Yeah. I don't understand why. I mean, what we got in this last thing was bad TV. It really was. It was like, this person. It's like, okay. It's like, Jinder's going to be here.
This is for the Women's Rumble.
What? It was just, I don't know. It was just strange. I didn't care for it. Did not care for it.
I mean, it was cool. It was cool for what it was. Because I did like the fact that certain of my favorites came up, like Noe Jose, Sanity,
especially since
Andrade Cien Almas.
We knew some of these were coming up.
When Almas lost, I knew he was going up.
I don't know. I wasn't so sure about Jose, just because I saw him working security at WrestleMania. I was like, but.
Well, the unfortunate thing with Jose...
let's talk about Jose.
Was the fact that he was gone for a long time. Really long time.
So I think WWE already knew they were calling him up. They just didn't know when. Yeah,
and so they decided to pull him from NXT television for quite some time. Unfortunately, they pulled him from NXT television for too long.
Yeah.
And the last thing that he did wasn't really impressionable. It's not like he... lost a title match and got injured, sort of like Drew Galloway or Drew McIntyre.
Right.
It's not like he just lost the night before and is now being hoisted up. He lost a while ago, or he appeared a while ago, was sidelined with injury, and was barely talked about.
Yeah.
It was like they were just like, he used to be on NXT, but let's not talk about that.
It was like WWE goes, okay, kind of like with AOP too. We're going to bring these guys up. Mm-hmm. So they go, okay, writing them out of NXT television because I'm not going to keep pushing these guys or they're going to the main roster. I'm going to start working other talent.
But yet also you see,
but on
pretty much part, every other person,
they don't always follow through on things.
Noe Jose and McIntyre, I keep wanting to call him Galloway. Besides the two of them, everyone else just appeared on NXT TakeOver and were still featured pretty prominently as part of the product. Oh, and the Iconics. The Iconics sort of disappeared for a while, too. I forgot about them. But I think when they disappeared a while ago, people had already assumed that they were going to come up anytime now.
I think that they had decided they were going to bring them up.
And come up anytime now.
And then for whatever reason, they just did not bring people up. Oh, for the Iconics, yeah. And I think most of that is because the focus has been on getting Roman Reigns over. And
that literally everything else took a
back seat because there's just no room on a 3-hour show, believe it or not, to bring some of these guys up. Here's what irritates me most about Jose's bring up. Mm-hmm. It's Adam Rose.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate. It is the exact gimmick, the exact style, everything. I almost expect Adam Rose to be in it next week. Coming out doing the cha-cha with Jose.
I can't even remember how his music goes.
So. Adam Rose.
Oh, it's a whoa, whoa. Because all I could think of was no, wait, Jose. Right. No, wait.
So it's like
my dad loves Noe Jose, by the way, which is great.
It's fun.
No, he is, but and he's a huge guy. He's gigantic.
That's why
he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that.
I would have turned him heel and put him with Cien Almas. I would make. But
they already have Zelina Vega.
So strength in numbers. Haven't you learned anything?
He should manage Lucha House Party.
To live and die.
LAX made me sad for a different reason, but we're not talking about redemption.
So
They lost
I really don't
to
have.
fucking Steiner, man. They lost to Steiner and Eli Drake.
I got all pumped. I like Eli Drake. He just don't have any direction. He out of everybody, he could use the most going to NXT.
love LAX though.
I do too. I love LAXs too. Anyway, yeah. I got pumped up because someone said that Steiner did a Frankensteiner.
Yeah, he
and
did.
I was like, oh. And I was like, was it off the ropes or off the top rope? And they're like, oh, top rope. And I was like, oh. I miss the old Frankensteiner. Anything else about
the Superstar Shakeup?
Shake Up? Shake it up.
I mean, and honestly, you know, I
You
feel
should
like
have brought up Hero.
I'm on the other side of your feelings for the Iconics because I like
I've never
what
been
they
into
could
them.
be.
You like their potential.
Yes, I do. And I mean, I think especially with the rumors of them trying to start a women's tag division, they would probably be the best heel team to start it. I don't think they should be the first champions, but I think they should definitely be the first part of that journey toward getting a women's tag
champs
titles.
until we get a women's show. Because there's just not going to be any room for it, honestly.
Pretty sure. They've been really sort of pushing the stables.
We need more stables.
There's Absolution, there's Riot Squad,
I would
there's
have
the Iconic Duo.
stables out the wazoo if I was the writer for WWE. At least a couple stables. So, we got to see Good Brothers back together with AJ.
Yeah, that was halted pretty quickly though.
So there's that.
It's interesting to see. It's interesting to see how it's going to pan out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the Bullet Club was just reunited with Balor, and then
just getting going.
They
too.
threw him back to Styles. What are they doing?
I was hoping that when I saw that Good Brothers were going to SmackDown, I was like, send Balor to SmackDown.
Nope.
I was hoping that we get them all together.
Oh,
that
will never
writes
happen.
itself. Like, what are you thinking? But
and it would have been a great opportunity to show
thinking.
Balor as the leader,
and AJ as the number 2 guy. Until Adam Cole gets called up, that would have been awesome. It's so awesome.
Adam Cole was never leader Bullet Club. I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't say leader. I said the number 2 guy. He was the leader.
And then you said until Adam Cole comes up.
Yeah, because then Adam Cole and AJ would have to be like butting heads over the number 2 position. Yep. You know what happened. It would totally happen. Because Adam Cole was the leader of the American division of Bullet Club.
There's only one leader of Bullet Club.
The American side, Adam Cole.
There's only one leader
he was the
of the
leader.
Bullet Club. There's only one leader of the Bullet Club. There's only one leader of the Bullet Club.
I guess you really could say there's several, but
There's only one.
you're in denial.
The true Bullet Club.
The original
The
leader.
truest Bullet Club.
The original leader was
The most real Bullet Club. The BCOGs.
Carl Anderson.
Out of here.
He was the heart and soul, man. He was the heart and soul of the Bullet Club. And is still the heart and soul of the Bullet Club. He's a good brother. It's true.
Machine Gun wanted answers.
Machine Gun still wants answers.
I think of that every time I see him. Every time I see him. It's all I can hear is I'm pretty sure it's Kevin Kelly screaming, "Machine Gun wants answers" when they turn on Styles in Japan.
Oh,
I can't not.
it would be
hear
so
that.
great, though. I mean, really, WWE needs to capitalize on all this. I know they did all that stuff with Adam Cole down underneath, but in NXT, but that would have been a really great moment. Have all 4 of them back together, and then Adam Cole too.
Have
They've been like,
have Roddy oust Adam Cole.
They could have.
They still can.
Still can, but I mean, they're not going to bring up anybody else anytime soon now.
Oh no! Don't bring up Adam Cole. Don't ever bring up Adam Cole. Leave him down there.
We like
Leave
Adam Cole, right, Allison?
Leave him to the wolves. Leave him to the wolves.
On who? Who you putting your money on?
Bobby Fish, man.
I like Bobby Fish too.
Bobby Fish, man.
Yeah. I don't know.
Adam Cole is now my least favorite, or my fourth favorite member of the Undisputed Era. As in my least favorite member. He was always my least favorite member.
Why?
But now he's down to 4.
What you got against Adam Cole?
He's the least interesting out of the 4 of them.
What? See,
Bobby
I like
Fish
when I don't like
is the
somebody,
man.
I can like point to a reason why I don't like them.
That's my reason.
Your mark.
I can't engage, like, he does not engage me at all. Not in the same way
He will engage you with a super kick.
not as much as Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly.
I've always
and
liked
Roddy
Bobby
Strong.
Fish, but I've never always been a Kyle O'Reilly fan. He's grown on me.
Yeah, I know, that's what it was too. Kyle O'Reilly at War Games.
He's
Just
slowly grown on
the
me.
the light hit him just right as he slammed into the cage. And I was looking, I was just like, this is incredible.
This is going to take a big 90-degree turn here, sort of. But I was listening to the Young Bucks. Speaking of Bullet Club and Adam Cole, and the idea was to get Matt and Kenny where they could actually wrestle one another. Was what they ended up doing with Cody. They were planning to do with Adam Cole, but
And Adam Cole got signed.
yeah, he got signed.
Yeah.
So it was even better once Cody come on because Cody fit the product better.
And they killed Adam Cole.
And then they couldn't have the match against Kenny because Kenny couldn't get his visa. So they fired Adam Cole via video footage.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as far as how this story's playing out, Cody Rhodes has definitely done a much better job at really milking it in a really despisable way.
Yeah.
Adam Cole, his heelness verges a lot more on the annoying,
It was
whereas
Cody's
Cody's really just sort of like, this is a guy that I always thought he was better than you, that you just want to punch in the
it's the
face
difference
until
of
one of you
2D
bleeds.
versus 3D.
Yes.
And where like a lot of wrestlers are 2-dimensional characters, Cody Rhodes is really a 3-dimensional character. And so it's a huge amount of difference to have a character like that.
But I think also part of what makes him a 3-dimensional character is because you see 3 different relationships that he maintains at one time that makes him seem a lot more human. You look at his relationship with Brandy, and as the loving, caring husband and all that, and especially because he has the benefit of being on Wives and Girlfriends Atlanta. You see his relationship with the Young Bucks, where it flips back and forth between being like, really familial, but also sort of like managerial. And then you see his relationship specifically with...
And very Machiavellian as well.
Yes, and you see his relationship with Kenny, where you see a lot of the butting heads.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of the subtle ways he tries to dig at Kenny. And Kenny, unfortunately, being a little bit less subtle at trying to get back at it. And unfortunately, Kenny sometimes will look a little pettier on the outside by comparison, which is, I think, how Cody got a lot of the support from other members of the Bullet Club initially.
You also get a little bit of breaking of the fourth wall to some degree with the business side of the product. Cody talking about getting the shirts made and this and that and making the money for the Bullet Club and stuff. So you kind of break the fourth wall a little bit. Not to mention the fact that he's Dusty Rhodes' son, and that gets brought up from time to time. Of course, he's got Dream tattooed right there. So there's different levels that you get with Cody that you can't get with other wrestlers.
Mm-hmm. When I think it's just to his benefit that he has been around the business for pretty much his entire life, and he learned from the best of the best of the best. You know what I mean? So he is a lot more astute to what he needs to do and how he needs to present himself to go along whatever storyline. So when he first started off in the Bullet Club as sort of kind of a proud upstart, not necessarily heelish per se, but how he was able to really sort of, I feel like insidiously is has a negative connotation, but it's pretty much how it was, where he was able to really slowly stretch out the roots and really take grasp of it to the point where now he's become such an integral part, and he's the member that's been part of it for the least amount of time at this point.
Yeah.
Hangman was a part of Bullet Club longer than he was.
I mean, especially he was just poised.
Yes.
You know, he entered, Adam Cole left, he moved up to that spot.
Seamlessly.
And and then we see him in that spot kind of undermining Kenny the whole way, and then
especially because Kenny for such a long time has been such a darling of the scene as the best way I can put it, and it's really sort of smart of him to be able to position himself in that way
with a lot of that too.
Oh, he is
to have that dynamic.
He's very smart
each other
about how to work these different things.
So of course, Cody, now the leader of the Bullet Club, he won.
Bullet Club is not fine.
He won. He beat Kenny.
Oh my God! Did you see that? It's super Herd of Honor. The Bucks chose me, and cried so hard.
I haven't kept up with it lately.
NOLA was such an emotional weekend for me. I cried at least 3 times. I cried at Gargano and Ciampa.
Oh, that was an amazing match. I
cried at Super Card of Honor with the whole Young Bucks accidentally kicking Kenny, and I cried at Mustafa Ali versus Cedric Alexander. The whole the show me that heart, come on, show me that soul, which I liked. I liked the sort of taunts in the beginning, but then as you saw as it kept going, they still showed so much both respect and compassion towards each other even during the match, and especially with when Cedric got the pin. Mm-hmm. So he counted the pin 1, 2, 3, and then immediately after the 3 he went and like hugged Mustafa Ali, and he was like crying, and I was just like, this is beautiful. This is wrestling.
If I was Brock Lesnar and if I was Roman Reigns, I would be embarrassed after not delivering a better match than Gargano and Ciampa.
Gargano and Ciampa, they had the benefit of having so much more storytelling, not just in terms of just within what that match itself represented, but with how both of those two performers brought it.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's no excuse for.
Well, no, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have been, or that they couldn't have been that way. I just think that the reason why Gargano and Ciampa completely overshadowed Reigns, Lesnar, and honestly a lot of the card of WrestleMania is because these are two guys that know each other so well, worked with each other for so long, and were able to really work with each other well to promote this match in character. And there was never a stop in dedication to that character.
Do you not feel that Roman and Brock couldn't have done that after this match has been literally booked since last WrestleMania?
I'm not saying they couldn't have done that. I'm just saying that there was no initiative by anyone.
Right.
And I'm not just saying Lesnar and Reigns. I'm saying creative. Whereas I think a lot of the Gargano Ciampa stuff, a lot of the stuff that fed into it also was just personally on their part, them being, enterprising and taking the initiative to promote it in character at every juncture they could. So Gargano and Ciampa, even on social media and Twitter.
You have Ciampa, you have Triple H, you have Regal. Mm-hmm. And on the WWE end, you have Roman, you have Brock, you have Heyman, you have Vince, and you have a slew of WWE creative with Stephanie McMahon that will not say
Raw
no.
has March and Archie. Come on, March and Archie.
Come
on, Archibald Beck. Come on. You know how to write stories. You're March and Archie.
But their creative can't get past the proverbial glass wall of Vince and Stephanie.
I think the thing that bothered me...
They're not going to fight.
Not bothers me, but I think
They're
the thing
money.
that is the most
they
disappointing...
got kids, yo.
I think the thing that is the most disappointing is the disparity in quality. Because, from top to bottom, TakeOver was great.
Oh, yeah.
There was never a moment in which it was just sort of like, oh, I wish I could skip this match. And I think the biggest reason why is just the difference in perspective and work ethic. And it's terrible to say, because I'm not saying that everyone on the main roster is lazy or that everyone on NXT is better than everyone on the main roster. But you see how things are presented, and of course it's down to the individual performer itself, all the way up to creative and management in NXT that is so much more focused on building the story around the match as well. That there's so much more that makes people interested.
Yeah.
Whereas on the main roster, it's sort of like, this is such a big match. It's a big match. Did you realize it's a big match? It's a big match. You should care about it. It's a big match. And there's much less...
Easy, Michael Cole.
There's much less to get us invested. So, the biggest match as far as storyline went on the main roster... I think it was a three-way tie.
The commentators really spoon-feed it.
Yeah.
And then the setup every week really is spoon-fed.
I think Rousey, the mixed tag match was built up story-wise decently. The Charlotte versus Asuka was built up decently. But honestly, the one that had the most screen time dedicated to it was Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, it's been building for a long time.
And I think that match was probably the reason. And of course, it didn't hurt that Daniel Bryan was part of it. But as far as storytelling wise, that match had the biggest potential payoff because that was the match people cared about the most.
Right.
Even Styles and Nakamura. It could have been so much better because
main event was a huge mistake.
Well, not only that, but because of how that match ended up playing out, or the lack of time they dedicated to building that match, I think it fell so much flatter. And I think we've talked about this. We talked about this in the Lost Wrestlemania, WrestleMania Part 2. Check it out.
The fact that they had just Nakamura just walking up every week going,
I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania.
It was just...
Well, and the fact that they did not explore it all, and I don't know if it's because of copyright issues or anything like that, or infringement or whatnot, but the fact that they did not explore at all, like, their history prior to the WWE.
I think they may have mentioned it
when
once
going
or
into
twice.
the WWE, they've been kind of on sort of separate trajectories. They've kind of been, kind of glanced at each other, but never really been together.
They could have easily talked about how they were both signed at the same time. They both come from Japan at the same time.
Both of them champions in Japan.
They had both faced each other.
And at the last big event in Japan, they both faced each other, and Styles came up short. They could have explicitly said that.
But they can't sell this is a dream match if they do that.
Well, no, because the Japan match was way better one. And we always knew it was going to be way better, just because of how they structure things in Japan. But to the fact that for the people who aren't familiar with that, for the people who aren't getting New Japan smarks like we are, why are we going to care?
Mm-hmm.
Besides, oh, these are two people we're supposed to like, but why is this match important?
Well, I think it would have helped too if we saw a little bit more of an edgier AJ Styles in this, which is weird because we have seen AJ a little bit edgier in other feuds with heels even. But with this one, it was just like he was just irritated.
Well, because they were playing it face versus face.
It was just it didn't.
And face versus face can work if you have the story behind it, like they did for the Cruiserweight.
But they could have built it up as them as friends, them teaming, having tag matches with, oh, I didn't mean to accidentally kick AJ, or I didn't mean to accidentally hit Shinsuke, and then them kind of starting to butt heads. It was just none of that build. It was teasing stuff. It was teases. And insults. Not really insults, but irritating things like need to face. I don't know. They don't know what to do with Shinsuke. And it's sad. No speak English.
I like that. But I like that because I like to think that it will lead eventually to the
I would like
to the Nakamura that we saw a little bit more of in New Japan, which everyone called Swagsuke. You know what I mean? There's a lot more of that attitude and that confidence and that swagger.
I would be okay with it if he come on and he quit speaking English then.
His new entrance music is dope, by the way. I love it.
Him just speaking in Japanese when he comes out and having a translator, a manager translator. Or having a stable around Shinsuke with Hideo and Tozawa and calling it Chaos.
Mayhem.
And, doing something to that effect.
Oh man, did you see? Totally on nowhere. I think you have seen this, but the whole Okada thing, or it's just they're like, Chaos is coming. It's like, actually, we're in Japan, and so I was like, thank you, Okada. Genius. I was just thinking that you were the best. This is. They
should have teased that Chaos is coming.
This is an ad though, but then it's going to be Nakamura's new entrance music.
I mean, God, they could play off of Chaos spelling it differently or whatever. And I would bring in Hideo and Tozawa and team with put them in there with Shinsuke on SmackDown, because God knows they're not really doing anything with them on 205.
I love this. I'm already obsessed with this.
I mean, that's the only good thing is that they are changing the music so that the fans can't sing along with it.
I saw on Cage say on CSS, there was someone's like, oh, so the fans don't sing along to it. First comment from one of my favorite posters over on Cage that see Slave Blaze. It's like, joke's on you, Shinsuke. I won 3 anime karaoke competitions. That's like, I love this. Thank you. Me too.
It'd be great if the crowd starts singing this.
I would. I know how to sing in Japanese. It's not that hard. I understand some of this.
Only thing I sing in Japanese is Minoru Suzuki's song. So.
But Ore wa chikara, which is sort of supposed to mean like I am strong, and then Ore wa ichiban, I'm number 1. Yeah, I'm obsessed with this because I'm a big fan of Japanese rock, Japanese rap, Japanese music because I am half Japanese. So I'm a Nakamura.
Yeah.
So that's it for us today.
That's really it.
This is Midcard Mana signing off for that.